morning. So here I am again, and I'm thinking of maybe doing a daily kind of video to give you some tips to cope with the present moment of what we're going through, and keep you on the straight and narrow if you've got some long-term goals, some things that you really want to change, whether that's getting fitter, losing weight, whatever it is. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today is your morning routine, because if you can get your morning straight and sorted, it will serve you well for the rest of the day and going forward. So a couple of things I want to really kind of talk through with you. So let me first kind of give you an insight into how my morning goes, or how my effective, I'm not always getting it right, but my kind of morning, just to give you an idea. So the first thing I do is always a meditation, and recently I've started doing a second meditation, which is a Kundalini chanting one. So I do a quiet headspace one for 10 minutes or so, and then I do a Kundalini one, which is a sort of chanting one, which helps to center me and ground me. The headspace one is, I kind of add to it a little bit by going through all of my chakras, and I can actually tell just by thinking about them which ones feel like they're in balance and which ones feel like they need more attention. So I don't know if you know about chakras, but they're energy points, of which there are quite a few, but the main ones there are 7 chakras. So we have our base chakra, our root chakra, we have our sacral chakra, we have our solar plexus chakra, we have our heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and crown. And so that's how I start. And then this morning I've signed up for some free online yoga with Jane England at Go Yoga Guernsey. So I highly recommend you go for something like that, seeing as we're in lockdown and you might be stuck at home. And really what's absolutely key though, at the very beginning of the day, is your hydration. And the reason that your hydration is so crucially important at the beginning of the day is because it affects your blood sugar. And what happens is, if you don't address your hydration right at the start of the day, you will be at the mercy of your blood sugar for the whole day, which means that you may get a confusion between your hunger and thirst, which means you may eat when actually your body's thirsty, and create this confusion and also this laying down of fat, which you don't want to be doing if you're trying to keep lean and fit. Okay, so I've sort of spoken about my spiritual kind of aspect and my fitness aspect in terms of my yoga. Sometimes I won't do yoga, I'll go for a little jog around the block, and I'll usually, during lockdown, fit in a lovely cliff walk or something as well. So you want your lifestyle and your fitness to be incorporated. But really what I'm going to focus on today, and which is my kind of area of expertise, is your diet and getting it right. So this is what's so intriguing, is that most of us, as you know, if you listen to me on a regular basis, are chronically dehydrated. And the reason we're chronically dehydrated is kind of 5-fold. One is our family history. So what we're doing is we're being handed down a pretty heavy toxic load from our ancestors, which affects our hydration picture. We are exposed to an environment that is the most dehydrating it's ever been, in terms of the exposure to Wi-Fi, satellite dishes in space, driving, previously flying, electricity, air conditioning, central heating, and it all has a hugely dehydrating effect on your system. We also eat in a way that dehydrates us. So we're using drugs, tea, coffee, chocolate, alcohol, cigarettes, Coca-Cola, other 6 drugs. We use those to try to feel better, and they chronically dehydrate us. Coffee and tea are diuretic, so they actually cause us to push fluid out of our kidneys. So I'm not saying never have these things, but I am suggesting that you become aware of how much water you're drinking, and if you're going to have those things, try to drink plenty of water. What else dehydrates you? Stress. Stress is a majorly dehydrating effect on the body. So obviously if it's short-term stress, like you're caught up in traffic and feeling stressed by that, yes, that's going to physically dehydrate you temporarily, but it's more the long-term stress. It's the unresolved things in your life. It's the things that play on your mind for extended periods of time. If you're unhappy in your job, if you're unhappy in your relationship, things that really you're struggling with that have become a long-term issue. And I'd really encourage you to use this opportunity, this time in lockdown, to really consider these areas that are not working for you, and to consider getting some support, whether it's talking to a friend or considering some professional support to help you to start to acknowledge what's causing you this stress and start to create those changes. So did I cover all of that? So diet, lifestyle, emotional trauma, family history and environment all create a physically dehydrating effect on the body. And if we're 80% fluid, then, we need a lot of water. Every single cell in our body needs water to be able to function correctly. Now, the impact that has in the morning is that if we are dehydrated and don't acknowledge our hydration, we often can feel hungry. And this isn't the case with everybody. Everybody's different. Some people wake up and they feel nauseous. They don't feel hungry at all. They can't face breakfast. And there's a couple of things that might be going on there. One is that if you feel any kind of nauseousness, you need to be looking at your liver, because your liver is basically saying, I'm toxic, I don't feel good. So obviously what you're doing with your life, your stress, your eating, your lifestyle is somehow impacting your liver in a negative way. And that usually means that your bowel isn't happy either, because your liver uses your bowel to clear its toxic load. So that's something that some people might be feeling. Some people may just not feel hungry in the morning. And I would really encourage you to listen to your body. This idea that people said that breakfast is king. It's not king. In fact, the old naturopaths of many, many moons ago recommended that we don't start eating until about 11 a.m. because what it does is it allows our system to detoxify and for the liver to carry on that detoxification process that it's been going through during the night while you're sleeping. And it allows it to continue into the first few hours of the morning. Now, this may not suit everybody. There may be people watching who are on a massive fitness regime. Maybe you're training for, probably not a marathon because nothing's happening out there. But you may be on a massive fitness regime, in which case you may feel that you want 3 meals a day and you want to have your breakfast. But for a lot of my clients, particularly my menopausal women, particularly the people that I tend to attract into my service, which tend to be into their mid-40s and maybe older, there is an issue often around weight, and there is an issue around overeating. And so what happens if you consider waiting to eat until you're actually hungry is that you start to become aligned and tuned into your system, and your digestive system works better. So if anybody's got any questions, anybody who's listening now and has any questions about this idea of starting your sort of first meal of the day later, please do get in touch. It's not suitable for everybody, but for the majority of people who are wanting to realign their system, who want more energy, who want to fully hydrate, who want to have a clearer head, it works really, really well to spend the first few hours of the morning fully hydrating. So waking up with a pint of water, preferably room temperature or warm, so it doesn't have to be heated up by the stomach. And so starting with your pint as soon as you wake up, and then maybe having another pint an hour later, maybe even another pint. And you don't want to have more than 2 pints in 1 hour. So you do need to spread it out. So that's key to start with. Now, what that's going to do is when you start to hydrate fully, you start to tune into your system better, your blood sugar stabilizes, and you start to get in tune with your hunger. And then you wait until you're actually hungry. And when you decide to eat at 11, and you can eat between 11 and 1, so it might be that you push the first meal of the day to be brunch. Maybe you choose it to be your breakfast food. Maybe you choose it to be a lunch. You know, it's up to you. But the real optimum times of eating are between 11 and 1 and 5 and 7. Those are sort of the ideal times. And in winter, ideally, you would drink before it's dark. So what happens is that sometimes, I'll give you some examples with me, because it is such a fascinating thing if you can get it right. I'm just having some carrot and celery juice. I'm missing my kale. I need to go to the shop. I like to put kale in it as well. And actually this reminds me that this is a great thing to do. So say you do decide to follow this idea that I'm suggesting. One of the most helpful things you can do is to make yourself a fresh vegetable juice, because it kind of staves off your potential early hunger, and it fills you up. Now, some people say to me, well, is a smoothie a good alternative to a vegetable juice? Yeah, it's okay. But the thing with the smoothie is that you tend to put in some kind of plant milk. You tend to put in maybe a bit of honey, maybe some oats, maybe some quinoa. You know, maybe you're making it a protein shake or something. And that is a food. But if you make a smoothie, say you've only got a NutriBullet, then you could just do vegetables and some fruit and some water, or maybe some juice, although I'm not keen on juice because it's very sugary. So smoothies are okay, but it's difficult to make them enjoyable. Whereas with the vegetable juice, if you do a base of carrots, kale and celery, it's a thin juice. It's absolutely delicious. You drink it as quickly as you can, so that, which I'm not doing a very good job of here, I'm still drinking it, within a few minutes. Then you get all the enzymes which help to purge the liver of toxins. So you're really adding to this process of using the morning as an opportunity to detoxify. Now, the thing is that sometimes I wake up in the morning, particularly if my diet hasn't been that good, and I've been eating more kind of sugary things, more snacky things. I actually find myself craving breakfast in the morning, craving things like granola, cereals. I don't tend to eat gluten, but I might go for a gluten-free cornflakes or fiber flakes. I actually find myself craving that more on the days and weeks when I'm not eating as well. So I always find that very interesting, because what it's showing me is that my blood sugar is not stable, and that what I'm trying to do is to use food to feel better. And if I give in to that need, that craving first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever for the granola or the cereal, the carbs, then it tends to lower my energy, so I'm not as productive for the rest of the day, and it's harder on my digestive system. So it's not to say that you shouldn't have granola and you shouldn't have your gluten-free cereals with, I have it with rice dream or maybe almond milk, or with some, and have porridge with blueberries and cinnamon and seeds and things. I'm not saying don't have these things. What I'm saying is don't have them every day. Choose when you're going to have them, and be aware that if you have them, particularly if you put them into a dehydrated body, you're probably going to crave more food for the rest of the day. So the way you start the day is going to be the difference between very often success and failure in terms of your long-term goals of wanting to lose weight, have more energy, have a more clearer, focused mind. So really, there's no wrong or right here. It's not that granola is bad. It's not that cereal is bad. It's not that eating breakfast is bad. It's can you tune in and become aware of whether having that granola at that time is going to make you feel better or worse. Because like I say, in my personal experience and also with my understanding of our system and the importance of allowing the body to cleanse first thing in the morning and rebalance, it really does, in my experience, benefit you if you're wanting to lose weight and feel fitter and feel more energized and have a clearer mind, is that less is more in the mornings. So yeah, kind of that's what I wanted to touch on today. Do send me a message, send me any comments in the chat about your experience of what it's like. You know, some of my clients will say, no, there's no way I'm giving up breakfast. I love my breakfast. I'm on a big fitness regime, or they're working, long hours in the office, then they're going to the gym. And so for them, it really is important to them to have their breakfast, lunch and dinner. But for a lot of us, if we can start to become aware that food isn't about giving you energy, we don't need to eat the food for energy. Once the food is broken down into its compartments, yes, parts of it are used for energy, of course, we know that. But if you're eating the food to try to give you energy, you're doing it wrong. You will have more energy the less you eat. The more you hydrate, the more the system can cleanse, the more the system can detoxify and rebalance, the clearer you'll feel, the more energy you'll have. And this is why the yogis in India recommend fasting and sunbathing, because basically we're a solar powered battery, and that's why we suffer in the winter, because there's not enough light and we don't get out enough in the light. And that's another thing I'd recommend you to do in the mornings, is get outside. Even if it's a grey day like today, you will still benefit. The sun's rays will still benefit you through the clouds, and you'll produce that lovely vitamin D. And have other benefits, because the light is absorbed inside our cells and produces energy. So sunbathing, we can't do that, but we can expose ourselves to natural light. And fasting are the two ways that can help you to realign your system, rebalance, and feel more energized. And then when you feel more energized, you're more likely to be more active and more productive in your life, if that's what you want to be. So I hope you found that helpful. The morning is key. If you can get in touch with what your body needs first thing in the morning and start to become aware that if you're needing food first thing in the morning, you might want to just see whether it's a thirst, not a hunger. So really hydrate first. Have your pint of warm water first thing. Maybe make yourself a lovely vegetable juice. Have another pint of water an hour later. Have another pint of water an hour later. And it might be around that time that you say, oh yes, okay, now I feel like my digestive system is ready for food. Let's consider what I can eat. If I choose granola and cereal, it's very carby. It might drop my energy slightly. But if you really want it, have it. I do sometimes. I just don't have it every day. If you want something that isn't going to affect your energy so much, you might go for eggs. Maybe roast some potatoes in the oven. You can slice them very thinly. They take 10 minutes to cook. Have that with a nice selection of greens, which will balance the acidity of the eggs. It might be that you have lunch. You have an early lunch and you go for a lovely chicken soup, or, chicken and rice, or maybe some fish and rice, or maybe a lovely lentil soup with brown rice in it. Whatever feels right. So get your morning routine right, and then I'm gonna probably come on tomorrow. I can never guarantee it, but I'd like to try and come on each day this week to give you tips and ideas to help you create a really wonderful, healthy life and really feel amazing. Even though we're in lockdown and kind of struggling, perhaps mentally and emotionally, feeling a little bit lost, maybe a little bit unsure of ourselves, what's going on in the world, what's happening, how can we feel good about ourselves? And this is really an opportunity for us to turn inwards and really decide what it is we want and how we want to feel and what we want to make of our lives, and really treat ourselves with the kind of loving kindness that we deserve. We have a right to a beautiful life, a loving life, a kind life, a caring life. We have a right to take a breather. And so if you can take a breather during this strange time that we're living in, then please do, and be super self-nurturing and self-kind, and know that I'm here for you. If you need me, I'm here to support you. If you want to talk anything through, if you're struggling in any way, there is always a solution. There is always a way round. We are all individual. Please don't take this advice if it doesn't resonate with you. This is general advice, and it's giving you some support and some tips at this time, but it may not suit you. So please tune in and get a sense of whether it feels right. And if you're not sure, do your research, get in touch with me, let's chat it through, and I would be delighted to help you in any way I can. So have a great day, folks, and see if you can get in touch with your hydration this morning, or maybe you've already had breakfast or done your routine, and tomorrow is an opportunity for you to tune in and see, you know, do I need that breakfast or not? Can I delay it a little? Can I tune in and rebalance my system? Less is more. All the best for now. Speak to you